Hey, how's it going, everybody? Welcome back to our Recreation Homestead. In case you can't tell behind me, we went from spring to winter in about one day. All right, that's all it takes here in Southwest Ohio. Like anybody else, and pretty much the eastern half of the country, we all say we can get all 4 seasons in one day. Everybody says it, so don't think your state's any different. I've lived in North Carolina for 21 years. I've lived here for 20 years. It's all the same. Just here we get more extremities to the cold, right? So, but it's here it is. It's almost mid-November now, pretty much, and we're gonna harvest some vegetables because we still have some. I think we have some peppers that survived. We have a trombone to pick, but we've held on, right? You've seen the lettuce. We've grown. We've got some carrots to harvest, which we're not doing in this video. We're gonna let them go for a couple weeks. We're gonna try to see if they can grow a little bit undercover. But hey, the peppers have survived so far. See Angela picking a couple green bells that are done, and even if they're small, it's okay. Angela, do you handle them any differently?
No, you'll just have to dry them off when you go in. Because the snow on them, you'll have to dry them off so that they don't start to mold or anything like that.
Does the do they taste different since they're not as big as they could be?
The walls may be thinner, but they won't taste any different.
Some of the peppers have held on, and I mean, obviously, again, they didn't do as good as they always have before, but they held on. They survived the problems we dealt with them earlier in the year, and they're still there. And we use a lot of peppers, so we grow a lot of peppers, and as long as they've survived, we're gonna eat them. Here's a good looking Ajvarski pepper that survived the winter. That actually looks really good. It's one of the best ones. Really one of the best ones we've grown this year. I'll get it out of the snow, even better. So that's the thing. Again, I've addressed this before, but this right here, all this up in here, that's all maple trees, and they arch over the garden in a way that actually harms the garden a little bit in the summer because we lose some of some light. But at the same time, these early frosts we had, they helped because it insulated the garden. Permaculture, which we don't really subscribe to everything permaculture does for us right now, it just doesn't fit what we're doing in this space. But in permaculture, it talks about growing under a canopy, and because the canopy can insulate your spot there and actually extend your growing season. And that's what's happened here. We've had some frost. We got down to 29 or 30 already this season, but in this section of the yard, it was actually a little bit warmer. There was evenings we walked after we put the chickens up. It was cooler down that way where the chickens are at, and we walked over this way all the way up through here, and you know what? I said, Angela, I think it's getting warmer over here. And sure enough, I think it was. It felt noticeably warmer, and obviously everything survived. Obviously, you see we got some yellow ones here that aren't as big as they could be, and they're half green still. Are they going to be able to ripen, Angela?
Maybe, maybe not. If not, I don't really care. I'll use them that way.
Just cut them up this way.
Yeah.
You gonna try and ripen them there? So what do you do to help to ripen them? Do you just sit them on the counter, or put them in a window, or what?
I just set them on the counter, and a lot of times they'll ripen.
Okay.
But if they start to feel soft, then if they start to not feel so hard,
I got you.
Then I'll go ahead and get rid of them.
Yeah. A nice little bucket of some peppers there. We're gonna take those in and be able to chop them and freeze them to store them away, some point in time. And then I need another bucket because we got some other stuff to look at still, maybe. All right, here are these tomatoes we planted for fall harvesting, and obviously, look, there's some red right here, right? But now we've had some issues. Can't tell this or not. Picking them off, and they've had little wormholes in the top of them. There's been some worms in them, so we probably won't waste our time with these last couple because there's not really enough here to make a difference anyways, and it may just be a waste of our time. We may cut them up and have worms inside. But what I will do is I'm going to pick them, and if they're okay, like maybe just a little milly but nothing we want to eat, then maybe chicken food. So I'm going to pick off these couple here, and we might look into those for chicken food. But all these green ones, here's a plant that's fell over, I'll show you. All these green ones, like right here, there's a lot here, and that can be very usable. See, a lot of this right here, I mean, obviously the plant has dealt with some disease that fell over. Some of them look like they're ready to turn. Now, if you have tomatoes that are like that, maybe they're good. Maybe it's, you haven't had the issues with worms getting in them and whatnot. Then hey, go and harvest them, take them inside, let them ripen, see if they're any good. We may not even mess with those, probably not, because we could make fried green tomatoes or green tomato bread. Angela's got a great green tomato bread recipe. If you've never heard of that, it's amazing, it's delicious. It doesn't take a whole lot of green tomatoes, but I mean, I cut into one, it had some brown in the middle of it, something had crawled in there and bored in, and so it may not just be, a lot of these may not be very usable because of the insect and parasite pressure we've had on them for whatever reason. We don't know why, but that's just the way it's been. But and like fried green tomatoes are awesome as well, by the way. But so we may not mess with these just because it's been a lot of wasted time cutting into them and saying, oh well, this isn't very usable. But again, could be very productive for anybody who's in this situation like this. We do have one last Tromboncina to harvest. It's looking awesome. See, look at that. Massive fruit here. And if you've been following us at all, even slightly, you may have seen we've cooked a lot of Tromboncina. We've grown a lot of Tromboncina this year. And we used it as a zucchini in the summer squash. Well, this we've let go because you can also use it as a winter squash and hopefully get some good seeds out of this too, because these plants have been awesome here late in the season. So we're going to harvest this last one, take it inside, and hopefully it finishes ripening up, because we don't want to let it freeze out here tonight, because it's going to freeze. And so let it finish ripening, and maybe we can get a delicious winter squash out of the same vegetable that we've gotten all these summer squashes out of. So when you're cutting these off, you want to make sure you cut off as high as possible. The more stem that is left, the better storage capacity it's going to have. So it's a tough one. There we go. Look at this son of a gun. My gosh, it's huge. It's pretty heavy. I mean, still not completely hard. Maybe it needs to be finished hardened off, but it's great. It's got some serious weight to it. I mean, well, I'm 6'2", 6'3", and up here, that's a big, massive squash. Look at that. Sit there playing air guitar with it, whatever. It's awesome. I'm looking forward to seeing what's inside of this one sometime. All right, so there you have it. Us and these big, massive squash. We're done for the day. We're gonna take this stuff in. We're gonna get out of the cold and dry our hands off from this cold, wet snow, and just enjoy the rest of our day. Thank y'all so much for watching. We do appreciate it. My name is Jason. That's Angela Kay. This is Art of Creation Homestead. We love y'all. God bless you and goodbye.